You wake up, 18 August 1966. Phuoc Tuy Province, Vietnam. Monsoon rain coming down hard enough to strip bark off rubber trees. 108 men walk into a plantation. 2,500 walk out from the jungle to meet them. The ratio is 23-1. The battle lasts 3 hours and 40 minutes. By nightfall, one side counts 245 confirmed dead, the other counts 18. This is not legend. This is receipts. Artillery shells, radiologs, death certificates with names and dates. The Battle of Long Tan. The day Australian infantry held ground, that mathematics said they couldn't. The 1st Australian Task Force, 1 ATF. Commander Brigadier Oliver Jackson, 2 infantry battalions. 5th and 6th Battalion Royal Australian Regiment, 1 Armored Personnel Carrier Squadron, artillery, engineers, signals. They built a base at Nui Dat, smack in the middle of Viet Cong territory. June 1966, 3 months before Long Tan. The base is raw dirt and sandbags, surrounded by rubber plantations, dense jungle, villages emptied by war. The Viet Cong know what Nui Dat means. Australian boots on routes they need, supply lines threatened, freedom of movement gone. They need to hit hard, they need to hit early. 1,850 fighters, based in the Mae Tao Mountains, operating east Phuoc Tuy. The 2nd Unit, D445 Provincial Mobile Battalion, Commander Bui Quang Chan, call sign Sao Chan, 350 local force troops. Recruited from Dat Do, Long Dien, Hoa Long. These are not farmers with rifles. These are main force regulars with North Vietnamese Army battalions embedded. Battalion D605, infiltrated late 1965 from the north, integrated April 1966. They carry AK-47s, RPG launchers, 82mm mortars, 75mm recoilless rifles. They drill, they coordinate, they prepare. Week by week. Late July through mid-August. The transmitter belongs to 275th Regiment. Captain Trevor Richards runs the intercepts. His team plots coordinates daily. 29 July, 30 kilometers northeast. 3rd August, 25 kilometers northeast. 10th August, 15 kilometers northeast. 14th August, 8 kilometers from Nui Dat. The enemy is closing. Task force patrols go out. They find nothing. Dense terrain, rubber plantations, triple canopy jungle. The VC know how to hide. Recoilless rifles, rockets. 103 rounds in 22 minutes. They hit 103 battery area, artillery positions, tents, vehicles. 82mm mortars from 2 kilometers east. 75mm recoilless rifles. The Australians scramble. Counter-battery fire starts at 0250. Artillery locating radar, suspected faulty. They use compass bearings, sound, flash, manual targeting. 1st Field Regiment fires 240 rounds. The shelling stops. No ground assault follows. 24 Australians wounded. Gunner Philip Norris dies later in Australia from his wounds. The base holds, but Jackson knows. This was reconnaissance by fire, testing defenses, locating positions. The real attack is coming. Mission: locate firing positions, track enemy withdrawal. They find mortar base plates, firing pits, recoilless rifle positions, evidence of wounded carried east. Trails lead toward Long Tan rubber plantation. B Company follows until dark, harbor overnight. Next morning, 18th August. D Company gets the call. Commander Major Harry Smith, 33 years old, from Hobart, Tasmania, Malayan emergency veteran, 2 RAR, 1955 to 1957. He trained D Company to Special Forces fitness standards, high discipline, teamwork, mateship. They arrived Vietnam, June 1966. Ready. Smith gets orders at 0800 hours, relieve B Company, continue search, locate enemy units, engage if found. 108 total. The New Zealanders, Captain Maurice Stanley, forward observation officer, 161 Battery, Royal Regiment of New Zealand Artillery, Bombardier Willie Walker, Lance Bombardier Murray Broomhall. These 3 men control all artillery support. 24 guns back at Nui Dat, 18 Italian L, 5 pack howitzers, 105mm, 12 Australian, 6 New Zealand, 6 American M109 self-propelled howitzers, 155mm, a battery, 2nd Battalion, 35th Artillery Regiment. United States Army, 24 tubes. Stanley has direct fire authority. Smith has 3 platoons, 10 platoon, Commander 2nd Lieutenant Jeff Kendall, 11 platoon, Commander 2nd Lieutenant Gordon Sharp, 12 platoon, Commander 2nd Lieutenant Dave Sabin, Company Headquarters. Company Sergeant Major Jack Kirby, signalers, medics, mortar fire controller. 48 men from B Company went back for the show. D Company gets their mission instead. 1,300 hours. They rendezvous with B Company. Ford briefs Smith, trails heading east, signs of movement, large force suspected. B Company returns to base. D Company continues. Long tan rubber plantation, 4 kilometers east of Nui Dat. Rows of trees, evenly spaced, open ground between, perfect fields of fire, perfect killing ground. 15 hours. They entered the plantation, 10 and 11 platoons forward, 12 platoon and company HQ behind. 40 hours. First contact, 11 platoon spots enemy soldiers, walking straight toward them, not sneaking, walking. Sergeant Bob Buick fires, wounds 1. The man's comrades grab him, they run east. The Australians are surprised. These men wear camouflage uniforms, not black pajamas. They carry AK-47s, not old rifles, these are regulars. Sharp orders pursuit, 11 platoon advances, 16:08 hours. They hit a wall, small arms fire, RPGs, heavy volume. From the flank, ahead, both sides. A monsoon storm breaks, rain, torrential. Visibility drops to 50 meters. The ground turns to soup. Sharp realizes this is not a small unit. He calls for artillery. Captain Stanley receives the request. 16:12 hours. 161 battery opens fire. 6 guns, 105 millimeter shells. The first rounds land. Sharp adjusts. Walk them closer. 11 platoon is pinned. 28 men. Already 8 casualties, dead and wounded. The enemy mass, human wave tactics, walking forward through artillery, not running, not diving, walking like zombies. Private Allen, May later says he killed at least 40 men that day. Everyone he knocked down. 2 more took the place, shooting ducks in a gallery. Regimental fire mission. Target coordinates from Stanley. The rubber plantation explodes, high explosive shells. 105 millimeter, 155 millimeter. The guns fire 6 to 8 rounds per minute, 2 rounds above intense rate, sustained. The gunners at Nui Dat work through toxic fumes. No wind. Rain falling straight down. Fumes don't disperse. Breathing becomes difficult. Gun sights fog up under humidity. Empty shell casings pile up. Men frantically feed ammunition. The concert stops. Artillery people run from the show to their guns. Little Patty and Cole Joy perform to shrinking crowds. The sound of guns drowns everything. This widens the gap with 11 platoon. Smith doesn't know how bad it is up front. Radio reports broken, static, monsoon interference. He orders 10 platoon, move to 11 platoon, support them. Kendall advances. His men intercept enemy, kill them, keep moving. Then they hit resistance. Fire from 3 sides. 10 platoon stops, can't reach 11 platoon. The artillery saves them. Shells landing within 100 meters of Australian positions. Danger close. Stanley walks fire with precision. Radio operator feeding coordinates constantly. The enemy can't mass for assault. Every time they gather, artillery breaks them. Buick and remnants of 11 platoon. Desperate dash through enemy fire. They link up with 12 platoon. Together they fight back to company HQ. Smith deploys them in defensive positions. 11 and 12 platoons consolidated. 10 platoon on the flank. Company HQ center. All-round defense. The perimeter holds, barely. Move to Longtan. Reinforce D Company. But there's a problem. Jackson is hesitant. What if this is a feint? What if the real attack comes at Nui Dat? Intelligence says 275th Regiment has 3 battalions. Only 1 is confirmed at Long Tan. Where are the other 2? Where is D445 Battalion? Where is 274th Regiment? The base could be vulnerable. Jackson delays. Smith is on his own. The M60 machine gun teams carried 6 100-round belts each, another 6 belts in packs. They've burned through it. Artillery keeps firing, but small arms ammunition is critical. 2 RAF Iroquois helicopters scramble. Number 9 Squadron. Pilots Flight Lieutenant Frank Riley and Flight Lieutenant Cliff Dole. Weather is hell. 0 visibility. Monsoon storm. They fly anyway. Treetop height. They find D Company. Drop ammunition boxes wrapped in blankets. Free fall. The boxes hit mud. Soldiers scramble to retrieve them. The helicopters take ground fire. They make it out. The ammunition drop changes everything. D Company can hold. Commander Major Ivan Essex. 10M113 APCs. Armored personnel carriers. 3 troop. Roberts commanding. They load up. Infantry on top. 1855 hours. Relief force departs Nui Dat. They move east. Cross a swollen creek. APCs swimming. Water up to the hatches. They make it across. Then contact. D445 Battalion, attempting to outflank D Company from the south. The APCs hit them. 50 caliber machine guns. Only 3 APCs have armored turrets. The others, gunners exposed. Corporal Peter Clements, mortar round hits near his position. Mortally wounded, the APCs push through. Infantry coming up behind. 1835 hours. The enemy launches human wave assault, a massed attack. They charge the Australian positions. Machine gun fire. Rifle fire. Artillery. The enemy comes in waves. Tracers light up the gloom. Rain. Mud. White latex oozing from bullet holes in rubber trees. VC snipers climb trees. Get shot down, blown down. The volume of fire is incredible. Deafening. Supersonic fireflies. Bob Buick later says it was wonderful music. The sound of survival. They assault through D 445 positions. Then wheel back to D Company perimeter. Form defensive ring. A company infantry dismount. Join the defense. Fresh troops. Fresh ammunition. The tide turns. 1915 hours. Firing stops. The enemy withdraws. Melts into jungle. Darkness. Rain. D Company expects another attack. It doesn't come. The battlefield goes quiet. Wounded are loaded onto APCs. Evacuation begins. Landing zone established at the rubber plantation edge. Helicopters fly in. Dust off. The wounded go out. The dead remain. 11 platoon's position is somewhere out there. In the dark, in the mud, among the enemy. 22:45 hours. D Company withdraws. 820 yards west. They harbor for the night. Cold, rain, waiting. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. Also, this script is researched and factual using sources from the official Australian War Memorial Military History section publications, including Ashley Eakin's detailed research published in Wartime Magazine issue 55 in 2006, and Ian McNeil's comprehensive to Long Tan. The Australian Army and the Vietnam War, 1950 to 1966, published by Australian War Memorial in Allen and Unwin in 1993, cross-referenced with Harry Smith's first-hand command account in the Battle of Long Tan. The company commander's story published by Big, Sky Publishing in 2019, and Ernie Chamberlain's October 2018 research note on Vietnamese casualty documentation using actual Vietnamese death certificates, and captured 275th Regiment Quartermaster notebooks from Operation Coburg in February 1968. Now back to the information. He orders D Company to stand down. They've been through hell. But Smith argues, hard. These are his men out there, his responsibility. D Company must be the ones to find them. Townsend relents. 0400 hours. Townsend requests additional forces. APCs bring out 6 RAR headquarters. C Company, section of mortars. 1 company from 5th RAR. U.S. helicopter airlift. This leaves only 2 rifle companies defending Nui Dat. About 200 soldiers. Jackson is nervous. What if the enemy attacks now? 0515 hours. U.S. Lieutenant General Seaman sends staff officers to Nui Dat. Major Piper and group. They meet Jackson. He's ashen-faced, almost speechless. Nobody at task force headquarters feels like winners. They think they've suffered a major defeat. Devastation. The rubber plantation looks like a cyclone hit it. Category 10. All branches stripped from trees. Leaves gone. 3,500 artillery shells exploded here. Thousands of bullets. The ground is torn up. Mud colored by blood. Bodies. Everywhere. 245 confirmed VC and NVA dead, left on the battlefield. Many more dragged away during the night. Standard VC doctrine. Recover dead and wounded. Deny enemy intelligence. The Australians find 11 platoons position. 13 dead, 2 wounded survivors. Private Jim Richmond. Private Barry Meller. They spent the night among the enemy, the VC medical platoon, women and girls, Mrs. Puong's medical evacuation unit, 80-strong Vo Thi Sao Civil Labor Company. They moved around the Australians in the dark, evacuating their casualties. Richmond and Meller stayed silent. Waited for dawn. Both survived. The battlefield tells the story. Australian losses. 18 killed in action, 24 wounded. 1 more dies of wounds later. Total 19 dead. 42 casualties from 108 men. 39% casualty rate. 11 platoon hit worst. 13 killed. 8 wounded. Out of 28 men, 75% casualties. D Company as a whole, 1/3 gone, 1,000 wounded. Vietnamese official histories, 47 killed total, 275th Regiment and D 445 Battalion. Political statement, propaganda, not reality. In 1969, ex-Sergeant Locke, D 445 Battalion, defects. Works with 6th RAR as guide and interpreter. He says most casualties came from artillery. Total VC killed well over 1,000. They carried bodies out night of 18th August to a massive hospital complex, dug into mountains northeast of Battlefield, 1,000 missing from the units. He refuses to believe only 100 Australians fought, refuses to believe 18 Australian dead. 878 killed, missing, or died of wounds, approximately 1,500 wounded. The Quartermaster Notebook, 275th Regiment, captured February 1968, Operation Coburg, 2nd RAR, New Zealand, Anzac Battalion. The notebook covers June to October 1966. Legible passages show rice issues, strength returns. 9th August, week before Longtan, 275th Regiment strength, 1,011 total. 1st Battalion, 107. 2nd Battalion, 254. 3rd Battalion, 250. Support companies, regimental headquarters. The notebook shows at least 111 wounded from 275th Regiment alone. No figures for D445 Battalion wounded. October 2018, researcher Ernie Chamberlain publishes findings. Vietnamese death certificates, Gye Bao Tu, official documents, tombstone data, 190 names with personal details, 275th Regiment personnel killed at Long Tan. But he cautions, this is incomplete. Missing D445 Battalion dead, missing other 5th VC Division elements, headquarters units, Vo Thai Sao Civil Labor Company, Bin Gia Assault Youth Unit, Surgery Element, Reconnaissance Elements, Artillery Element. Chamberlain's conclusion after years of research, 134 killed in 275th Regiment, 39 killed in supporting units. Total 173 confirmed by Vietnamese sources, still dramatically higher than the 47 claimed in official Vietnamese histories. Harry Smith accepts these lower revised figures after reviewing Chamberlain's evidence, but battlefield reality suggests higher. The artillery fired almost continuously, 3.5 hours, more than 3,000 rounds total, 100 rounds per minute at peak. Townsend estimated 50% of enemy dead came from artillery. The rest from small arms, machine guns, rifles, the rubber plantation terrain, rows of trees, open ground, perfect for shrapnel, maximum damage. The enemy massed for attacks, presented dense targets. The artillery broke them. Again and again. Brigadier Jackson never left his headquarters at Nui Dat. Awarded Distinguished Service Order. Smith commands on the ground, but gets lesser award. The controversy lasts decades. 2008, after years of campaigning. Independent review panel. Smith's Military Cross upgraded to Star of Gallantry, Australian equivalent of DSO, 42 years after the battle. The citation reads, D Company distinguished itself by extraordinary heroism while engaged in military operations against an opposing armed force in Vietnam on August 18, 1966. The men of D Company were facing a numerically superior force, surrounded and attacked on all sides by an estimated reinforced enemy battalion using automatic weapons, small arms, and mortars. Fighting courageously against a well-armed and determined foe, the men of D Company maintained their formations in common perimeter defense and inflicted heavy casualties upon the Viet Cong, first Australian unit to receive this honor. Cross of Gallantry Unit citation, offered, accepted, worn with pride. But Australian recognition came slow. Junior commanders who were there, decorated less than senior officers who weren't. Smith fights for his men, decades of letters, reports, submissions, government inquiries, defense honors and awards, tribunal hearings. He never stops. Some medals finally upgraded. 2016. Tribunal approves Smith's original recommendations for awards, 50 years late. Surrounded, outnumbered, outgunned in manpower, but firepower wins battles. Artillery, 24 guns at Nui Dat, firing continuously, 3,500 rounds. Stanley, Walker, Broomhall, 3 New Zealanders. They control the battle through radio and math, target coordinates. Adjustments. Walking fire within 100 meters of friendlies, sometimes closer, danger close. The gunners at Nui Dat fired blind, couldn't see the target, trusted the forward observers. The forward observers couldn't see clearly. Monsoon rain, 50-meter visibility. They used sound. Map coordinates, experience, instinct. Every shell had to be precise, too short. Kills Australians, too long. Misses enemy, the margin for error, meters. Royal New Zealand Artillery. The man who controlled the artillery that saved D Company. Nothing. Bob Buick calls him the hero of the hour at Long Tan. In Buick's opinion, Stanley made the difference without those artillery corrections, without walking fire that close. D Company dies, all of them. 108 men. The math is simple. Stanley gets nothing. Jackson gets DSO, politics, bureaucracy, injustice. Ammunition discipline, communication protocols. They drilled until it was automatic, muscle memory. When the battle started, no panic, no confusion. Platoons moved, commanders commanded, soldiers fought. The training took over. 11 platoon got hit hardest, lost their commander in first minutes. Sergeant Buick stepped up, no hesitation. Kept the platoon fighting, kept them alive, long enough for artillery to arrive, long enough for reinforcements, training, and leadership. The difference between survival and annihilation. 7.62 millimeter self-loading rifle, reliable, accurate, 20-round magazines, the M60 machine gun, American, 7.62mm, belt-fed, 100 rounds, sustained fire. Each section had one, 6 per company. They chewed through ammunition. But they kept the enemy back. The enemy had AK-47s, 7.62 by 39mm, 30-round magazines, rate of fire advantage. But accuracy suffered in the rain. Visibility was so poor it didn't matter much. Both sides fired at sound, at muzzle flashes, at shapes in the murk. Needs armor, needs heavy weapons. The APCs provided all 3, Roberts and 3 Troop. They executed, no hesitation. Swam the creek, fought through resistance, got there. 10 APCs, 40 to 50 men from A Company, changed the equation. The enemy couldn't surround, couldn't overwhelm. The APCs gave D Company time and space. Dropped ordnance beyond enemy range, useless. If weather had been clear, close air support would have shredded the enemy formations, but it cuts both ways, clear weather. The enemy sees D Company earlier, adjusts tactics, surrounds them completely before artillery arrives. The rain gave cover. Confusion, both sides operating partially blind. In some ways it helped the Australians. The enemy couldn't coordinate as well, couldn't see the small size of D Company, couldn't exploit gaps as effectively. Staff Officer 5th VC Division, likely overall commander, his plan: hit Nui Dat hard, prove VC strength, undermine Australian public support, political victory, military victory, kill Australians, capture weapons, take the base if possible. They knew one battalion was at Bin Ba, 5th RAR. Searching, away from Nui Dat. Intelligence told them the base was weakly defended. Good time to strike. They positioned forces. 275th Regiment, 3 battalions, D445 Battalion, support elements, 2,000 to 2,500 fighters. They mortared the base night of 17th, reconnaissance by fire, tested defenses, planned the assault for 18th. But D Company walked into them, in counter battle, not ambush. Both sides surprised. Or destroy D Company first. They chose destruction. Tactical error. They focused on the company, committed forces. D Company held. Artillery arrived. The window for attacking Nui Dat closed. By the time D Company was relieved, Nui Dat was reinforced. Alert. Ready. The opportunity was gone. Some historians argue this wasn't an ambush. The VC weren't prepared for D Company. No prepared positions, no kill zone, just a meeting engagement that escalated. D Company walked into the forward elements of a regiment on the move. The regiment tried to swallow them, failed. Viet Cong perspective from participants: Sao Thu, former Major, D445 Battalion, interviewed 2006. He said orders were to lure Australians out of Nui Dat, kill as many as possible, capture weapons, then take the base. They didn't know Australian strength at Nui Dat. Tried to draw them out, thought Australians would go one way, they went the wrong way. Came behind VC positions, tactical surprise, both ways. Nguyen Duc Tu, Commander D445 Rearguard, shot through both earlobes during retreat, survived. Tran Van Chien, Commander 1st Company D445, killed at Long Tan. Several D445 soldiers received letters of appreciation, Gay Ken, Vietnamese awards, for actions at Long Tan. They considered it important enough to recognize, despite official histories downplaying it. 27th August, 1966. Broadcast claims major Viet Cong victory, 700 Australians killed, 1 battalion and 2 companies destroyed, 2 squadrons of APCs wiped out, complete fabrication, propaganda. Radio Peking repeats the claims, 28th August. Vietnamese leaflets circulate Phuoc Tuai province, same lies. 700 dead, 21 tanks destroyed. The Australians didn't have tanks in country if they meant APCs. 1 squadron was involved. 1 APC crewman killed, 1 APC hit, not destroyed. The propaganda war. Both sides claiming victory, both sides spinning casualty figures. Their own losses were minimal. Party line. Make the Americans and Allies look weak. Make the VC look strong. Reality. 275th Regiment was combat ineffective after Long Tan. Didn't operate effectively in Phuoc Tuai province again until Australians left 1971. D445. Battalion also took heavy casualties. Lost commander and key personnel. Took months to reconstitute. That's not a victory, that's a mauling. 19th August. Brought staff, press contingent. Nobody believed a small group of 108 had fought off over 2,001. Had to see firsthand. Westmoreland toured with Smith and Kendall, found Australian soldiers digging graves, burying enemy bodies. Westmoreland approached a digger, Wild Bill Doolin, said, "You've done a good job, fellows, but this is the dirty part." Doolin replied in classic Australian style, "She'll be right, mate. We can handle it." That response made newspaper headlines. The Aussie attitude. No drama. Just get on with it. Westmoreland considered Long Tan one of the more spectacular Allied victories to that point in the war. High praise. He'd seen many battles. This one stood out. Commemorates all Australians who served in Vietnam. Over 60,000 personnel, ground troops, Air Force, Navy, 523 killed, almost 2,400 wounded. Long Tan symbolizes the whole war. Small unit, impossible odds, courage, sacrifice, mateship. The values Australians want to remember. Similar to Anzac Day growing from Gallipoli, Long Tan Day grew from one afternoon in a rubber plantation. The veterans guard the memory. D Company survivors. The men who were there, they know what happened. They know what it cost. They don't let anyone forget. Memorial to 18 dead. Later, the cross was removed, used as memorial to Catholic priest Nguyen Van Chin, eventually recovered by Dong Nai Museum, Bien Hoa City, 2017. The cross returned to Australia, now displayed at Australian War Memorial, Canberra, permanent exhibit, scarred. Rough concrete, but beautiful in what it represents. Sacrifice, memory, the men who didn't come home. Now peaceful, quiet, trees regrown, scars healed. But locals know the history. Some Vietnamese veterans return, meet Australian veterans, shared respect, former enemies, old men now. They exchange stories, show where they fought, where friends died, both sides. The enmity fades, the memory remains. Respect grows, warriors recognizing warriors. The battlefield remembers, the veterans remember, history remembers. After Long Tan, commanded one commando company, George Heights, became inaugural commanding officer, chief instructor, parachute training school, established Australian Army parachuting training, loved jumping, 5 times a day during courses. Formed Army Red Berets free fall parachute display team, gave displays at air shows, Army events, 1976, parachuting injury, left the Army, took up sailing, bought a 10-meter yacht hull, fitted it out in backyard, spent years cruising, East Coast and Gulf, 150,000 nautical miles over 33 years. Lived at Majimba Beach, Queensland. Wrote his account, The Battle of Long Tan, the company commander's story, published 2019. Big Sky Publishers, told the truth, including uncomfortable truths. Why D Company was sent to face a regiment. Why senior officers who never saw battle got better awards than junior commanders who were there. Fought for his men's recognition for decades, never gave up, never stopped pushing. 20th August, 2023. Harry Smith died, age 90. The last commander of Long Tan, gone, but the story lives. 2 RAF helicopters, ammunition resupply under fire, 10 APCs, 3 troop, 1st APC Squadron, 18 Australian dead, 24 wounded, 19 total dead, counting later deaths, 42 total casualties. 190 to 245 enemy confirmed dead on battlefield. 878 enemy killed, missing, died of wounds per captured VC records. 1,500 enemy wounded per captured VC records. 15 Commonwealth decorations. 1 U.S. Presidential Unit citation. 1 South Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry Unit citation. 50 meters visibility in monsoon rain. 100 meters danger close artillery. 23 to 1 odds. Mathematics said D Company dies. Artillery and courage said different. Here's what the archives don't capture. The sound, imagine it. Monsoon, rain hammering rubber leaves, thunder, continuous artillery. 3 hours of explosions, 100 rounds per minute. The crack of rifles, chatter of machine guns, RPGs whooshing, mortars thumping, men screaming. Orders, shouting, radio static, all of it, deafening, overwhelming, sensory overload, the smell, cordite, gunpowder, blood, mud, latex from wounded trees, fear, sweat, the smell of men fighting for their lives, the feel, rain, cold despite tropical heat, mud everywhere, slippery, clinging. Weight of gear, weight of wet uniforms, weight of knowing you're surrounded, weight of watching friends die, weight of not knowing if next second is your last. Training takes over, muscle memory. Do your job, fire your weapon, communicate, move when ordered, hold when ordered. Trust your mates, trust your commander, trust the artillery, trust the math, the mathematics of survival. Every shell that lands on target, every enemy that falls. Changes the equation, slowly, incrementally. The ratio improves. 23 to 1 becomes 20 to 1, becomes 15 to 1. Casualties mount both sides, but the Australians hold. The perimeter shrinks, but doesn't break. The line bends, but doesn't snap. Hold, hold, hold. Ammunition arrives. The equation shifts again. APCs arrive. The equation shifts decisively. Suddenly the enemy is surrounded, flanked, facing armor and fresh infantry. The The mathematics reverse, they withdraw. Survival achieved. Killed in action. Vietnam, 18th August 1966. Long Tan. 24 more families wounded. Some wounds heal, some don't. All carry scars, physical, mental. Post-traumatic stress wasn't understood then, wasn't treated properly. Some men came home broken, couldn't adjust. Couldn't forget. The sounds, the smells, the faces of the dead. Nightmares, hypervigilance, guilt, survivor guilt. Why did I live when they died? Questions with no answers. Some found peace, some never did. Some drank, some fought. Some shut down, some eventually found help. Some didn't. The cost of that one afternoon, measured in decades, measured in destroyed relationships, lost careers, suicides, the price of survival sometimes worse than the price of death. Honoring the dead, supporting the wounded, keeping the memory alive, they built monuments, wrote books, gave interviews, taught history, made sure Australia never forgot, made sure the sacrifice mattered, made sure those 18 names stayed honored, made sure D Company's stand remained in national consciousness. Mission accomplished. Long Tan is remembered. 18th August, Vietnam Veterans Day. Australia commemorates. Schools teach it. Museums display it. Historians study it. The story lives because veterans kept it alive. If you value documented history like this, subscribe. Comment below from which city you're hearing this from. We research deep, we check sources, we honor truth. Americans withdrew 1973. Saigon fell April 1975. North Vietnam won. Unified country under communist rule. Long Tan didn't change that trajectory, but it changed Phuoc Tuai province. The VC planned to prove they could defeat Australians. Planned to undermine Australian public support. Planned to make Nui Dat untenable. They failed. After Long Tan, a one ATF dominated Phuoc Tuai, controlled movement, controlled villages, controlled roads. VC couldn't operate freely. 275th Regiment pulled back. D445. Battalion reconstituted slowly. 274th Regiment stayed cautious. The tactical area belonged to the Australians, not completely, never completely in Vietnam, but substantially, for the duration of Australian presence. Long Tan established that, one afternoon. 108 men, mathematical impossibility that became reality. Each one a person, each one confirmation. They died at Long Tan. 18th August, 1966. The Vietnamese government doesn't advertise these, doesn't publish them, doesn't acknowledge the scale of loss, but the documents exist, hidden in archives, scattered in records. 190 names, 190 families who received notifications. Your son died at Long Tan, your brother died at Long Tan, your husband died at Long Tan. Vietnamese families mourning their dead, just like Australian families, just like New Zealand families. War doesn't care about politics, doesn't care about ideology. War takes sons, takes brothers, takes fathers, leaves empty chairs at dinner tables, leaves photographs on mantles, leaves memories that fade but never quite disappear. 190 death certificates. 190 reasons the official Vietnamese history is wrong. 190 pieces of paper that tell the truth. 2,500 walk out from the jungle. 3 hours and 40 minutes later, 108 men walk out. 18 carried by their mates, dead. 24 wounded. 42 total casualties behind them. 245 enemy confirmed dead, minimum. Hundreds more carried away. Hundreds more dying later from wounds. The mathematics were impossible. The outcome was real. Artillery, training, leadership, courage, mateship, luck. All of it combined. All of it necessary. Remove any one element. D Company dies. All of them. But all elements held. The line held. The men held. Long Tan held. The receipts are in the archives. The shells cases still in museums, the cross in the war memorial, the names on the wall, the truth in the records. 108 Australians and New Zealanders. 2,500 Viet Cong and North Vietnamese Army. August 18th, 1966. History's Monsoon Crossfire. Mathematics lost, courage won.